Yeah, let me just record on the cloud. Yeah, let's admit everybody. Okay.
Okay, I will do.
Let's see. Let's get everybody joining. Good afternoon, wonderful people of the homeopathic world. We see quite a lot joining. We're not going to have time to say all of your names out loud because there's more than 100 of you. But hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello. We're going to wait another couple of minutes to allow the latecomers, and then we're going to get started. Okay. A couple more people coming in. Almost done. Okay. Sarah, if it's okay with you, I'm going to start introducing everyone, and then you can just keep an eye
Yes,
on
yes,
the
I
new
will.
participants, and we can get going.
Yes,
Okay.
thanks.
So, welcome everybody. I'm Marco Spiezia. I'm the CEO of Zoosoft, the company behind Vervarcke, and it is an honor, true honor and pleasure today to welcome our dearest Anne Vervarcke, who is going to present the update of a new module. We also have in the team today helping us out Naila Chima, Sarah Hani, and Luke Norland, who I imagine you all know, but you can say hello, guys. And let's get this going. So, Anne, most of you should already know, needs no presentations, but I'm going to present her anyway. So, author of 9 homeopathic books, practicing classical homeopath since 1989, based in Belgium. You can find all of her information out on her website, which I'm going to post in the chat. It's thewhiteroom.be. There's a lot of really interesting information there, so I highly recommend you go and check it out. Okay, you've got the full list of pretty much everything that she has done. You can contact her. She's a wonderful person, and she does reply to emails, which is something that doesn't happen all the time. And that's about it. As some of you know, a few years ago, we got together with Anne and we created this wonderful module called the Family Finder in Reda Opus. So I imagine a few of you, if not all, will already have the module. If you don't, of course, you can talk to your representative to get it. And Anne begged us to release an update, which she had prepared a long time ago. It just took us a long time to get it done, but we finally got it done. And so today she is basically going to present to you the new stuff. So, Anne, I think I've spoken plenty enough. Over to you. Oh, just one last thing. As there are many of you, feel free to write your questions in the chat. Okay, we will monitor the chat. We will let Anne speak throughout 45 minutes to an hour, and then at the end, we will ask all of the questions, which you can repeat live if you like and ask directly to Anne, or we can just read for you and Anne will respond. Over to you, Anne.
Okay, Marco, thank you very much for your introduction. And today I want to talk about the update, but I want to start a little bit with just a few minutes with the basic, let's say, the basics of the Family Finder. What is it? eh? And why is it made, created, and what is the aim of it? So it's interesting to know or necessary to know that all the information there is aimed at constitutional prescription. It's not for clinical prescription at all. We have repertory, we have all the information there. There's enough information, I find, uh, to make a decent clinical prescription. Now, constitutional prescription is something completely different. You could say chronic, the chronic state, and I call it a vital level, which is basically the combination of a very classical approach, the vital disturbance, as Hahnemann would have called it, and the the level theory of Sankaran, so the modern theories, which explain that, we have all different levels of experience, and actually the vital level is beyond mind and body. So we have two, you could say, physical levels, which is the one tangible physical, and the other one is the energetic aspect of the physical. And then you have the psyche, which is level 3 and 4, containing emotions and thoughts. And then you have something beyond, and that's our state, our essential way of being. Even Vitulkas already was talking about the essentials of the essence. So constitutional prescription is always aimed at the essence, showing itself with signs and symptoms on mind and body, as Hahnemann already said. So that's important to know, that the idea is always to find the remedy that is the simillimum, or the biggest totality we can find for this case, as Jan Scholten would say. What is the simillimum is the biggest totality we can find. So another basic principle that is important to know, this is created because I find when I'm teaching, and I've been teaching for 27 years or longer, that the students got very confused because of too much information. They get completely overwhelmed and desperate because they get drowned in it, and they don't know what is important, what is detail, what is general. So in my idea, analyzing a case, you start with the general, the big, how to say, differences, and you make it more and more detailed. Yeah, but you start with the most general divisions, if you wish, that you can make. So that is, in my understanding, 2D and 3D. These are concepts that I think for people who are new, they think, what is that? 2D is second dimension, 3D is third dimension. And what can you find? I produced a map, and I created a map that had 2 pages. So the one page is 2D, all the families and the groups you can find in that on that page have similarities. And then you have the other page, which is 3D, and that is basically fungi, plants, and animals. And also they have similarities, and they are different from 2D. So that's the first distinction. And we will see in the family finder, it's very easy because they have different colors. So all 2Ds are in yellow, all 3Ds, groups and families are in black. So it's very easy to spot immediately. And then you have the idea of, okay, I know which page I'm on. Am I on 2D or 3D? Then the next step is on what row or what level should I situate my case, or my patient. And that is with the excuse me, with the logic of the periodic table, and we are all familiar with that. So again, this is basic premises, then you know how to use it. And then the third thing I want to say is that all information of the family finder comes from patients, exclusively from patients, because otherwise, I don't know. I'm not for sure if that is typical for the patient, or for the state of the patient, or for the remedy. So if I see a patient in front of me, I know the remedy beforehand, I have precognition, that's why I could make this. Then I just check the expressions of this particular remedy in this particular patient. And that basically resulted in this. What is this? The family finder is hopefully a tool that is very helpful to see in one glance, on one page, all the information you need. As soon as possible, as quickly as possible, while even doing your case. And you have different possibilities to enter it. I will give it examples in a minute. And it's all connected to the enormous database of Radar Opus. So you can switch back and forth. So it's not something completely on its own, but it's meant to be a help to first analyze, do you have a patient in a 2D or a 3D group? then to analyze like what do I have for this particular row, what families and what groups are uh, possible candidates, and how do I get there? That's a way to analyze your case, but you will see in the Family Finder, it's also a tool to learn a lot about the remedies and families that you might not know about, much about, or you didn't consider before. So in the newest version, I think there are over 700 remedies, and a lot of them are lesser known or not known at all. And there are over 100 families and groups. So, if you want to work with Family Finder, okay, where can you find it? You go here in the search.
Please turn your microphones off. I'm trying to find the person now, but if you know who you are, turn it.
I've just muted it. I've just muted it.
Well,
Okay. So you can go to search and then you see here the Family Finder. That's one way to get there. You can also go to maps. And maps, you have several possibilities, at least two. So you have Family Finder and the Vital Approach. The Vital Approach is already longer there, and it contains the maps and other information. So, okay, we are on the Family Finder. Then I will explain what you can do with it. Basically, there are three things, three blocks if you want. Well, actually four. There's one on the down as well, but you have a search area, you have a family remedy area, and you have a navigate area. Now, the search area, of course, is what I will give most examples, because in the middle is the outcome of your search on your left side. The outcome in either remedies or in remedy groups. And then on each one you click, you have detailed information here in the box below. And then the navigate will learn you more about the tree. That means how is your remedy taxonomically placed? What family members can you find, either in the Family Finder or in Opus? And then you can also see where it's situated on the map, and you can navigate it. So, if that is clear, I hope, then I will try to give some examples and make it clear. So let's say you want to type a word in. A patient talks about, what shall we say, work. A lot of patients will talk about work, but it must be something that is typical for the case. Like this patient whose work is like in the center of his existence. He's always talking about work. He's very concerned about it, etc. And then you see it opens another block that you can choose. Is it work you want to type in, or is workaholic or worked or worker? Let's do work. That's the shortest word, and then you maybe have the most chances to have a hit. Okay, you want another word. The patient, let's say, is also concerned about poverty. So fear of poverty could have something to do with it, but in your case, it seems to be important. So you click in words. If it's in black, it means it's there. Yeah. So you have to click it. Otherwise, if it stays in red, it will not be, how to say, calculated. And then you click again, and then the outcome comes in the middle. Now, what do you see in the middle? As I said, all the black fonts are 2D. You could say mineral and mineral-like. It's a bit of a generalization, but for the time being, so mineral or mineral-like groups, like carbons, carbon compounds, charcoals, gemstones, rocks and stones, all these groups, imponderables, are in black. They're all 2D. They have similar, you could say, mineral-like characteristics. What else do you see? We go in more detail in a minute. You see a lot of yellow. So all the yellow remedies are 3D. And I said 3D is either fungi, plant, or animal. And so you can scroll down because there's more than what you can see. So you see there's black, there's yellow. It's a bit like 50-50 more or less, although in the top are more yellow remedies. Now, let's take the first one just to have an idea of what is this remedy. You think, what? Ceruleum? Never heard of that. What could that be? If you want to know what your remedy could be, then you have a look at the navigate box. And you see it's an imponderable. Oh, so it is imponderable? Didn't know that. So it's important to know. Are there many family members? Oh, yeah. There are many family members. All of these remedies you can find information of. See, and there's a lot. Not all in the family finder, some in Radar Opus, some in the family finder. And you can also click on the map, and then it will open part of the map, because the whole map will take your whole screen. And you can open it if you want. But it will just show you where it is on the map. So it says second dimension, which is your first information, and the characteristics of the second dimension. So your patient, if you would consider giving ceruleum, your patient should match the characteristics of the second dimension. Otherwise, you can forget it, because that's the first condition. So that means the case is about, well, the vital sensation is emptiness, but a lot of patients will not be able to express it as such. But that's actually on the vital level, all groups and families in 2D have at the vital level a feeling or a fear of emptiness. It is about existence, my existence. Contrary to 3D, it's about my life, of my survival. We all live, but we live in different worlds. So 2D exists. 3D lives. Yeah. The case is more sober, more factual, and the basic thing is about capacity. Can I? I can't or I can. Yeah. Do I have enough capacity? Do I lose my capacity? How can I get more capacity? Yeah. So it's always about what can I do in order to exist. It's about my function. It's also about my role. It's about meaning and value, more or less abstract concepts. Yeah. They want to have grip on the situation, grip in their life. In general, there's more dependency. 3D tends to be much more independent. If they are dependent, it's on their emotions, but it's not on their basic existence. And usually it's, again, a bit of a generalization. Second dimension cases are more simple, less complex than 3D cases. Usually there's only one problem. Or very often there's one problem. And if there are two problems, they come down to one problem. Yeah. So you can see it's row 7. What is row 7 in the periodic table is disintegration. And it has to be, let's say, differentiated with or it shares the same box on the map with artificial human artifacts and viruses. So these will be the groups to differentiate an imponderable from, because they have all the same characteristics. Also, artificial human artifacts are second dimension, 7th row, and so let's say in the same box as viruses and imponderables. In the box below, what you see is actually more keywords or information, if you want, but key information on the remedy itself. And it comes in 4 different levels. So it has experience, theme, context, and expression. Now, it is like, you could say in your repertory, lowest degree, second degree, like first degree, second degree, third degree, and fourth degree. It's not the same, but it's similar. That means fourth is more important and more characteristics than 3, and 3 is more important than 2, etc. So experience is the same as sensation. You could say if you have the experience of the sensation of this group, of this remedy, I mean, then you know quite sure that's the remedy your patient needs, because you have the most deepest, most characteristic thing on the highest level. Yeah. And you can always see it because it's in um, underlined. It's in what is the word again for this? Look, help me. In bold. Yeah, bold. I was looking for the word. Bold
Emphasize.
Sorry,
underlined.
yeah, bold underlined.
Couldn't find the word. So it's bold underlined. And the theme is like the third degree is in bold. Context is in italics. What is context? That is what you observe. It doesn't need, and mostly it won't be, something the patient says. It will be something the patient does. How he behaves, how she behaves, what impression she makes on you, how the consultation evolves. That's also context. The consultation can be very slow and very dull. That's context. Can be very lively, at the contrary. Can also be some friction for some reason. That's mostly animal. And that's context. So that is what is to be found here in the box below. And expression, that means this particular patient said something that struck me as typical, but it's not sure it is only this patient's characteristics or, personality, or is it in typical for the remedy in all cases? Because as you can imagine, from this case, like cerebellum, I don't have enough cases to see this is expression in all patients. And expressions, by the way, are very diverse. So the same remedy can have basically endless expressions. So it's low, you could say, it's first degree. If you find a remedy and you have 700 rubrics, then the first degree rubrics you might overlook. That's not so important. If it's only, let's say, in your rubric, only 5 or 6 remedies and it's lowest degree, then you pay more attention. So for cerebellum, you can have a look and it says, no, experience we don't have. We know it's second dimension. And second dimension, they have the experience of emptiness and existence, might not be expressed. But the theme is loyalty. You can see that's in font and that's in bold. And then the impression the patient made, or a few patients either made, is to be stable and to be self-assured. Which is not very surprising if you think the seventh row, because seventh row and six are very, very much similar. And sixth row, Aurum and Mercury and all those remedies, they don't have identity issues. They're self-assured. They know what they're capable of. They do superhuman things. The difference with seventh is that the pressure becomes so much that they feel they're going to disintegrate. So they try to hold on with all possibilities. They like to work, that remedy, like to work a lot, because a lot of people like to work, but they like to work a lot, and they also like to be among people. And it's very clear. I even saw it in a baby, that was unable to speak, but when other people spoke and he was around, he would act as if he was speaking with them. So much so that he wanted to be one of them, among people, strange people, not his family. So fear of poverty, that's why cerebellum came up. It has 2 hits. It has the work and it has the poverty. And when you have 2 hits, you can see it here. It has 2 out of 2. You put in 2 words and it has the 2 words. And the last thing you see is epileptic fit, and that is an expression. So this patient had as main complaints epileptic fits, and by now I have another one who need this remedy has epileptic fits. Okay, so that's only one possibility. You think, nah, this is not my patient. Work and poverty is an issue, but I don't recognize this. Well, have a look at the next one, and the next one, and the next one, because these are suggestions. But I try to explain how you can read the suggestions. So something completely different happens now. It's 3D. Okay, it's already here. As soon as you click on the remedy and it's here opened with a map, you see it's 3D with the 3D characteristics. That means it's an engaging patient. It's about life. It's about feelings and emotions, or about survival, which makes it animal. it's relating, the patient is relating to you. He's not considering you as in your role as professional, but as a human being who he's relating to. So affected by would be very plant-like. Not I cannot, but I'm affected by. That would be the basic feeling. I have problems because this affects me too much. Of course, there will be 10 pages of stories, but that would be the basic line. And usually they're very expressive. 3D cases, usually, if you ask a question, they answer with a half an hour explanation of situations and relations and happenings and circumstances and all that. So the cases are more complex. There's many of everything. And you can see Agrimonia eupatoria is a plant, and plants usually in consultation, it's about giving. So they give everything freely. They don't withhold. Animals would withhold. They would test you first. You have to deserve the information for an animal. They will test you, and they also will try to figure out on the hierarchy whether you're up or down, etc. Many of those cases are pain cases. So often I say if patient is very engaging, very talkative, and the main complaint is pain, okay, give a plant. What plant? Then that's the next problem. And sacrificing for the whole. It's a dicot. Yeah. And so you can also click on the tree, then you will see in the dicots where it belongs, and you have Cronquist and Daglen, both. So you have different versions, and you can also look it up in Radar Opus, and you can see, so it belongs to the Rosacea, the Rosalis, the Rosacea. If you see an I here or an I here, usually it means that there's more information on this group. So you can click on it, on the group, and then you come to Radar Opus, and they show you all the Rosalis and the Rosaceae that they have in their database. See? And there are more than in the Family Finder. Because in the Family Finder, I tend to put those ones that are lesser known. For me, there's no point in adding to remedies that already are, very well known. So with one click, you're in the Family Finder again. It's very easy to go back and forth. And so you look at Agrimona and you say, passionate about work. Yeah, that's my patient. Allergy, face itches constantly. These are, lowest, you would say, expressions. Passionate about work is a theme. Migraines makes me angry and irritable. Crushing pain, squeezing my brain to my skull, which is very rosaceae. That's the basic of the inner feeling of all rosaceae. And these patients actually verbalize it like this. Want to be outside and active, which is also very plant-like. You're not convinced yet? Have a look at the next one. Aloe vera. Never thought about aloe vera. And so on and so on. So you can see in the tree, where is it? Oh, it's Lilialis. You can see where are the family members, and then click on any family member you want. Let's say you think about Iris. I don't know Iris. Click on Iris, and it will bring you to Radar Opus. There's information of which we don't have too much here. Hopla is an insect. You look at the tree, because you might say, what is Hoplia argentea? I don't know. Have a look. Just one click on the tree and you see, oh, insecta. Oh, I didn't know. Scarabée. Oh, it's a kind of scarabée. So see, it's also a learning thing that even if you don't know the remedy, no problem. It will show you immediately to what group it belongs. It will show the family members, which are maybe more, familiar. And it will show you on the map immediately where you look, where you have to look, and what differential diagnosis you have to make. So here it is with mollusks, and with spiders. Since it's an insect, so mollusks, spiders, and insects have the same characteristics, meaning on the level of 2D or 3D of animals, and then also of the second row. So these are the conditions before you consider this particular remedy, and then you differentiate between the two. And so on and so on. So you can go down, Indian, same thing. It will tell you where it is on the tree. It will tell you the theme in here, work all the time. Afraid there's no way back. You can also click on a group, a family. So here you see we have imponderable, we have plant, then we have insect, and then metal, and then insecta as a group. And if you go down a little bit more, you see another insect, Melolonta. Yeah. Now, if you have in your first 10 outcomes one family and two representatives of this family, this means it might be this family you have to look in. So it makes a good point for insects. Why? Because it comes up 3 times in your yeah, top 10. Let's put it that way. There are more, of course. You can go down. Istiompax, what could that be? Well, that's a fish, clearly not an insect. See if there are more insects. Here you have another one. We have apis. So you see, insects are well represented. If you only type in those words, you might not have gone to insects with only those words, but now you will consider it. Why? Because the Family Finder gives you a suggestion. So let's say you want to go to insects and consider insects more. Again, in the box below, you get all the characteristics. So the experience, which is the sensation, is crushed. Yeah. All insects have the feeling they are crushed. They might use synonyms, but it's the same thing. The themes are dirty, they feel dirty. They might project it outwards and be super, super clean, but that's the same thing. I mean, on the axis of dirt and super clean, you have the one and the other extreme, but there's the same axis. So it doesn't make a difference whether they are either dirty or feeling disgusting and therefore very, very super clean. Because in the background, the theme is this disgust of insect of filth and dirt and bad smells and decay and all that. There is something in insects about hair, which is kind of surprising because insects don't even have hair. But if your patient is very much focused on his hair, on having beautiful hair and enough hair, etc., even typing in the word hair would lead you in the Family Finder immediately to insects. Yeah? Why? Because it is a theme. So it is high in the hierarchy. It's important. What else? Work is important, activity is important, and from an inner restlessness. You won't see them moving, but they feel inside like a buzz, like trembling almost. But it's like inside. An inner restlessness. They like to work a lot, all insects, they like it, they want to be the best, but for their own self-esteem, not to be better than you. Yeah. They just want to do the very best they can and work very hard, and they get the fulfillment out of that. Clothes are important, dress is important. They're ashamed when they failed or not appreciated or not valued. So it's also about shame, dirt, garbage, sewage in the case. All those things might come up. And if there's more information than you can see, then you can open it here. With one click, it's a dongle, so you can make it bigger and smaller. And then you see there's a bit more characteristics. Physical exhaustion, but mentally alert, which is typical for insects, by the way. They hope to fly away. The difference between bird and insects is the birds fly away or fly because they like to fly. They love to fly. It's their environment, and the insects want to fly away for something from the dirt, from the lower feelings and desires, which has something to do with sex often, and kinky sex and things that are a bit ashamed about, or sometimes a bit guilty about, and they want to fly away to the light, to the beautiful things, and to heaven. And also, of course, the other difference is that the birds are low They are, if you want to differentiate, you will see they are on the sixth level and row actually, and insects are much higher. So if you look at the map, actually you cannot, how to say, you cannot be confused because they're so far apart. Yeah, metamorphosis, we know especially from butterflies, of course, they eat everything a lot. Dreams of flying, floating, attack, violence, and water. This is all from cases. It's very typical. Constriction in the throat, we know from some insects, they have throat problems, and of course cystitis, because a few insects that are, classical ones are like Cantaris, because it's urinary problems. Warm, they are warm in contrary to spiders who are cold-blooded. Although they are in the same box, that could be a differential thing. If it's a warm one, it probably is an insect. If it's a cold one, probably is a spider. And they have strong reactions very often to insects and insects bite. So it could also be learning something about the group, and also differentiating about the group between the groups. So that is more or less how it works. You put in a few words. That is your outcome. You can check your outcome one by one. You look like Downham, don't know what it is. As I said, you can always look at the left box. What is it? Well, it's a product made of a plant, Malvalis. It's in yellow, so you know it's 3D. You can look at family members, so here they are, of the same family. And then on the map, you can have a look where it is if you want to. Yeah, and then Labdanum. In the box below, you have all the information. So I put in a few more words to have an idea, and then we can also look at a few families maybe. Let's say your patient is extremely indecisive. Like they don't know what to do, and every subject they're talking about, it comes down to, I don't know what to do, I'm indecisive, and so, etc. So that would be one word. And let's put in OCD. Your patient is on top of that OCD. Yeah, he has this main problem. Now, the outcome is something you might not have expected. The first word is Luna, which is moon, first remedy, and the second is Neptune, which is again the celestial body. And then the third you have is a group of animals, as the even though ungulates, like goats and sheep and all that, those group of animals. So first thing you probably will conclude, is it 2D or 3D? If it's a 2D, well, you have two possibilities at least. You have two suggestions in the family finder. It's not exclusive, it's suggestions. But suggestions that come from what patients told me. It is not, it doesn't come from thin air. I just noted down what they told me. And if you have two of the same group, it might as well be this group. It's worth considering this group. And that's why I think the Family Finder is an extra tool, because it gives you information on groups that are not so well known, or you might not go to naturally. Yeah. You would probably think indecision, that might be planned because, it's a feeling or whatever. So what about Luna? Well, Luna, it's a known remedy, not very well known, but still, indecision seems to be, in the Luna cases, like a big thing. It is a theme. That means it comes up more than once in several cases. Okay, feminine qualities in a man, not so surprising. That is the context. That's what we see. If the patient is a man, he seems to have feminine qualities, nice, caring, and yielding manner, way of behaving. A nice way of behaving, caring, and yielding. Desire to be light, airy, like a cloud, flow like water, etc. Luna, you go to Neptune and see. I said Neptune. I never thought about giving Neptune. Well, indecision also seems to be at the top, the most important theme that I could squeeze out of a Neptune patient. or maybe more than one. I never know by heart how many patients have this remedy. Another theme is choosing is losing. That's, of course, the fear of making the wrong decision. If you choose, you lose. They make a light-hearted impression. And you might ask yourself, is the light-hearted because they're, somewhere in the air, or what is it? We will have a look at it in a minute. Defenseless when basic premises are not shared. That is what the patient, shared with me. We have basic premises is other people don't work, don't act from there. Then I'm defenseless. I don't know what to do. From hypochondriac to careless, fear of contamination, OCD, which goes together, of course, severe eczema on the hands, probably that was the main complaint, and Tomorrowland. Tomorrowland is like, how to say, an image. It's an image. It's like a symbol. Yeah. What do you do in Tomorrowland? Well, you forget who you are, where you are, what you want to do, and have a lot of fun. So you say celestial bodies? Do we have more celestial bodies? Now let's have a look at the family. So we can type in the family, celestial bodies. Oh yeah, we have them. Good. So you click here on the looking glass, and then you see in the family finder, there are more celestial bodies. Actually, there are a lot. So you have Alpha Centauri, you have Gaia, you have Jupiter, Luna, Mars, Neptune, Pluto, Polaris, Saturn, Sol, Uranus, and Venus. And then you might want to learn a bit more about celestial bodies to see if you can expand your knowledge, or if your patient is maybe even more like another celestial body. It's not because one word led you to the group and gave you two examples or two suggestions like Luna and Neptune that you have to limit your final prescription to these two. It might be another one. So your outcome from a few words can also be a stepping stone to the group. And then you look into the group, is there something more suitable? And it all goes with one click. It's actually very easy. So you look at Alpha Centauri and you see a few characteristics, see if it matches your patient. If it doesn't, look at another one. Gaia, maybe. Or, I don't know, Saturn. Have a look. That is what a family finder does. Have a look at the how many hits you have, look at the level of the information, it's experience, team, context of expression, and then make your conclusion. While we're here, because I said the other group I wanted to, these are ungulates. So let's say, that's maybe also a nice thing. Let's say you made your analysis, it's 3D, I know it's 3D, I know it's 6 row, so it must be either mammal or bird. You think, yeah, mammal. I think mammal is actually what my patient needs. He needs a mammal. And then you have another problem. What mammal? Yeah, because there are many mammals. So yeah, mammalia, let's have a look what you can find. And of course, all yellow. And the first outcomes are always the groups. So you see it's mammals, mammalia. Then it says Canidea, which is dog-like animals. Then you have Carnivora, the carnivores. You have the let's see if I can pronounce it, Cetartiodactyla, which are the even-toed ungulates, what I was talking about. You have the Felidae, which are the cat-likes. You have the uneven-toed ungulates. You have the primates and the rodentia. That means all of these groups contain the number of remedies that you see here. So the numbers come immediately with it. And you can see these ones, we have 71 representatives. Even if you decide that you need one of those, you still have a bit of a choice. But for me, that is how you make your analysis. It goes from the big to the smaller, to the smaller, to the smaller, and the end is a species. Yeah. So let's say, yes, mammalia, you check here, you said Canidea. What is Canidea? Well, they're dog-like, they have anger and domestication. Now, it's not my patient. Carnivora, it's about chase, no chase in the case. And you go to this. Everything is heavy and difficult, like plodding along. That's the experience of this group of mammals. Maybe that rings a bell, that you say, yeah, it's more my patient, Fear they have done something wrong, they feel guilty, they can't relax, they're always alert, which is very animal anyway. You have the indecisiveness. That's why in the previous example, there was also a Sitartodactyla in the outcome, because of that word. It's about protection. They're very chilly, but easily in a sweat. Labor, easy and fast, and light-footed. So you might think, yeah, I think that would be one of my patients. So if you click twice, you're in Reda Opus and you see all the representatives. These are the 70 ones. Yeah. If you go here to the family members, you can find the ones who are now these are also in Reda Opus because we don't have so many. We don't have so many in the family finder. Which ones are in the family finder? Well, you can scroll here in the middle. These are all the remedies in the family finder. You see? Yeah. All the mammals that you find information on in the family finder. And you see it's fox, it's bear, it's talpa, it's mole, the rodents, squirrels, etc. If you don't know what it is, it's never a problem. You go here, have a look on the family tree, and it will show you. Paniscus, you go here, and you see it's mammals, it's primates, it's like primates, human-like primates, etc. So in this way, you can also learn about a group. A group. I will give you another example, maybe in words, because it can be very simple words that give you ideas you would not have thought of in the beginning. Maybe, let's say somebody is very stressed. Yeah, it's very restless, but under and restless, it's an enormous, let's say, general word. Very restless, but under an enormous pressure. That's why the restlessness, they feel an enormous pressure. And you might think at the first thought probably would be, could be row 7 or something, but let's have a look. So the first thing that comes up, I have to scroll up again. The first remedy that comes up is slag. Slag is, if you don't know what it is, we have a look here. It's a silicon compound, and analogic groups, it is a rock. So in the map, it is in the box of rocks. That means it's a mixture of minerals and all that, but they have a typical way of presenting themselves. So the second one is digitalis, is a plant. Why is it there? Well, because of blood pressure. That's not the pressure we are talking about in our case, so you skip it. And the third one is granite, and it's again a rock. So it's a bit the same as we say before. If you have two representatives of the same group, or one representative and the group characteristics coming up in your first 5 or 10 hits, you might as well consider the whole group. So where is pressure in the slug? It's only expression. So you could say it's a bit lower level information, too much pressure inside and outside. I'm very restless, not focused, it's overloaded, connection is lost. Buzzing in head with empty feeling, wandering joint pains and severe cramps. That was from a slag patient. And what about the granite? We have a good proving of granite. Don't know who I am. This is the experience. And that's a general experience in rocks. And you can check it because they are on the row 3. And 3 is about identity. We know from the periodic table, it's about building up your identity. So the question from somebody who is building up his identity is, who am I? Who am I anyway? Yeah. And so that comes in the rock as well, in the rocks as a basic question. I don't know who I am. So they're trying to build up, to establish their identity. they are under great pressure and very hard on myself. And I mean, these patients can be, I don't know, I remember a granitum case, I mean, very successful businessman. I mean, it's not because they say, I don't know who I am, that they are lost in the world. Their personality can be very functional. But the experience, which is the basic sensation, is the reason behind that they do what they do. That is the state. So differentiating between the state and the personality is not always easy. Hard on myself, so that's also something that the patient shared as a way of being like a team in my life. Always hammering the same nail. That is the context. That is what, as a homeopath, you observe, that the patient is always hammering on the same nail. Wants to be normal, which is actually the next level. If you go on a periodic table, the third row is establishing an identity. The fourth row is I want to be a normal citizen. I have an identity. I want to be like everybody else now. So, and I want to have what everybody else has. So my foundation, my existence is based on sustaining myself and being safe and having a life like everybody else. So the identity issue is no longer there. Identity is already fixed. Now sustainability is something that they want to be. So the granitum is not there yet. He wants to be normal, but if you don't know who you are, that's a bit difficult. Way too much, waste my life is boring and joyless, like a wall. Now, if you have rock patients, they're not very fun patients. I mean, not for themselves. Because usually they are very gloomy, tense, under pressure, confused, and all that. And you can look it up if you want to go to look at rocks. What else? What else? Maybe, oh yeah, another family that is not so well known. Yeah, and you might come up with also a very general word. So I delete those. For instance, let's say a person is very afraid of being alone. That's an issue in the case. Also very general. You don't have to make sentences. If you put in the words, it's like almost vague. It's like work is important, hair is important, poverty is important. You don't have to be more fancy than that. I always say the family finder will think for you. It will put it in context as soon as you click on it. Then you see the word in the context, and then you decide whether this context matches your patient or not. Alone, okay. What else? Let's say something with home. I like to be home. I'm not at ease when I'm away from home, something like that. And then you see the first hit, 2 on 2, but there's another one, is waters, is a group of waters. Yeah, it comes from, of course, it's 2D because it's black. It comes here, if you look at the tree, under minerals and chemicals, waters, yes, because basically it's a mixture of minerals. And you see the first one is the group, as a group. And the second hit you have is a water. Yeah, it's chalice aqua. So again, if you have and the group characteristics and representatives, you might as well consider this group. And then the third one is Vichy Aqua Grande, which again, water. Yeah. Yeah. And then we have all kind of other ones. We have bivalvia animals. We have celestial bodies. We just had a look at it. And also a few plants. And then, sarcodes. And you can have a look at all those. But maybe we say, okay, waters. What about waters? It's an experience. Being lonely and deserted is the experience. It has nothing to do with facts. There's something with birthplace, like they always torn or pulled to their birthplace. They want to go back. You could you could think it's nostalgia, but it's stronger than that. There is something extraordinary. That means if you have a water case, there's always something exaggerated in one direction or the other. It's always extra. Usually they're very highly stressed and very tense. Fear and panic when alone. That's where the word alone came, but it's still a theme. So it's not the experience, it's the theme. The experience is lonely and deserted. That's why they, as we can explain it, why they are so afraid when alone. And it's a theme. They have very high standards, yeah, fixed ideas or actions. Ask the homeopath questions. Yeah, well, I just noted down what I observed is context that they ask me very, very often many questions. Not all patients do, and oversensitive to noise. Now there is more to it, so you click it open here, and you see that you have again in one glance all the characteristics. Leading or helping to include others. So the waters I found very diverse. Yeah. They have all kind of themes and all kind of problems or issues, but these are all, let's say, lowest level. Everybody should be treated equally. You know, in the water, everybody is the same. All drops are the same. They can be quite inflexible. Yeah. So almost borderline to OCD, very attached to parents and parental home, like the home comes again, but like very attached. Yeah. There's a normal level of being attached to your parents and to your parental home, but in their case, it is so much so that even after marriage, they would go home to sleep. And I had two patients like this. Yeah, that could not sleep with their partner in their apartment, but wanted to go home and sleep with the parents. Aversion to change. I wish to die. Yeah, I even heard that in a child. I need my rest and quiet. Absolutely. Tantrums and washed away. So this might open again a perspective to a lesser known group. And then finally, what you can do with Family Finder is also check remedies. Like, would this remedy be in the Family Finder? Well, all you do is check. For instance, what we have mammals. Let's say Panthera. You want to know if the panther is there. Oh yeah, that's tiger, Panthera tigris. So you click on it. Tiger is there. Oh, good. So anything you want to know about tiger, where it belongs in the family tree, what are the family members, where it is on the map. You have it all. Take another remedy. Take another remedy. Oh, you want to give a butterfly? You know, a butterfly, Piris rape, that's a butterfly. Yes, it's there. And also, if you're not sure, it's the butterfly you need, you can go to the Lepidoptera because there's an I next to it. It means information. And you can look here. These are all the butterflies that you can find in radar opus. So there's more than the Pieris that you chosen. Maybe that's the only butterfly you know. That's enough. If you know one, you click it in and the remedy happens to be there. It will lead you to all the family members that are available, either in the family finder or in radar opus. So that's interesting in itself. And you can look for another family member, for instance, Bombix, and you have a look if it's there. It doesn't seem to be in the family finder, but it's definitely there in radar opus. But we saw that it was Lepidoptera, and that level is in the family finder. So if you clicked on the family, the Lepidoptera, then you see the characteristics of that level, which are experiences that are spectacular, which is not too surprising of butterflies. They have panic versus calmness as a theme. They're very phosphorus-like insects, so they have insects qualities because there are insects, of course, but they are like phosphorus-like animals, so insects. So that's good for us homeopaths. We have these archetypes as examples, like phosphor-like or sulfur-like, and I use this because this is information that you don't have to explain. Like somebody with a basic homeopathic treatment, if you look at birds and you see Pastor domesticus is a very sulfur-like bird, you know what I mean. Yeah, yeah. I don't need to explain all that, the hair it will be uncouth and it will be untidy, etc. Yeah. Okay, and it's also very charming, and that's also a context. Usually, the Lepidoptera, the butterflies, tend to be very charming. So I could give more examples, but I think my time is up.
I was just about to say, you can go for a little more if you want. I mean, some people are going, but if you wish to add a little bit more, you're welcome. When you think you've kind of done enough, then we can ask a few questions.
Yeah, I covered, I think, the general idea, and of course, the
Okay.
examples are endless.
Okay. Yeah. We can have a 3-day webinar if you want about that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you so much, for this fascinating webinar. There are a couple of questions
Good.
that I saw. I'm going to try and find them, but if not, the people are welcome to ask again. Just
Absolutely.
unlock your microphone. There was a question regarding a remedy, I think. Let me see. They were asking, oh, maybe they're writing again. Okay, is the update already available? Yes, the update is available in Red Europus. Yeah, some people asked. So the update is available. You can either buy it directly by clicking on the shop icon on Red Europus and then find it, or you can contact your local representative. Um, and there was a question about Nyla. Luke, can you help me find
Neptune.
the question?
Neptune is a remedy. Please
That's it.
explain.
Leptin is the
Neptune.
remedy. Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Well,
I am not sure. It will be nice if you can ask the question yourself, Carla. Neptune is a remedy that she has explained and has also explained the themes of the remedy.
yeah.
Hello. Well, I was mostly wondering with these celestial bodies and that, in some way they are potentized, no? And I mean, that in itself was kind of mysterious to me, but also just in general, their application to specific cases. No, I mean, not specifics, obviously, but generally, how that is determined. Or mainly, I was really curious about how they're potentized, to be honest.
Yeah. How they're potentized Neptune, I don't know. From other, I think Saturn, I'm not so sure. There's a proving, and the proving is from the light of Saturn. And like I assume that like Luna, because Luna is made from water that was in the exposed to moonlight, yeah, and then potentized. But moonlight doesn't exist, really. It's a concept, a concept. There is no moonlight. There's sunlight reflected, right? Yeah. So it is a phenomenon, but it is not a real one. Yeah. It's reflected sunlight. Yeah. And we potentize it and we say it's Luna. Why is it Luna? Because we give meaning to it. And moonlight has a meaning for us. It is a symbol and it has also effects on us. And more remedies like this, and I dealt with it actually in my first book, The Charm of Homeopathy, which is now 20 years ago, was published 20 years ago, that as I came to understand that homeopathy is basically symbolic because of remedies like moonlight that is non-existent. And now, as we know, there is discussion about viruses, whether they exist. There's never been a virus how to say, isolated. So nobody can prove a virus exists, but we have very nice cases of viruses that are cured. So that proves to us that it's a symbolic value. And when it's a symbol, it carries imaginary, it carries energy, it makes a pattern. And homeopathy, in my understanding, is pattern matching. So the pattern of the patient trying to match with a similar pattern in some phenomenon, whether it is existing or not. Because what is existing? Is it material or not material? That is the distinction we make. But actually, in our mind, it doesn't make that distinction. So how it is Neptune produced, I don't know, but I'm quite sure about Saturn. There is a proving of the light of Saturn. And probably you can also find the way it is produced. Must be the same thing. Yeah, probably some water that is exposed to when you can, spot in whatever, maybe, how do you call this, with this enormous telescopes, spot a planet, and then expose water or something. So I don't know. Once you have, let's say, captured it, now potentizing is not difficult because you have the water, the informed water.
Thank you.
This leads to the next question, actually, is in a similar way. How can a remedy be discovered without proving?
Discovered.
Yeah, I think it's also linked
Like
to
used.
Neptune.
Yeah.
Just, yeah.
Yeah. Well, in my case, it's because I have precognition, as I told you, and I'm sure other sources that are also in our books are from actually from very, very diverse sources, also from um, herbal medicine, bud flowers, knowledge about gemstones, because the library is full of books about gemstones and their characteristics and the way they act on all your different levels and etc. So information can also be gathered from other sources and provings, I think. Although I think provings are still the best.
Yeah, I think there was a comment by FTIA about the provings. So she was saying then the question remains, do we need provings? We may as well think of something and make a remedy at the moment. We're going to quantum fields and endless possibilities. Um, but I mean, you can answer that, but I think the point is in general, of course, it's important to have provings.
Yeah, but we can be a bit more, how to say, um, flexible with provings because the original provings, the classical provings, are very laborious. They take very long, and very often they don't make it even into our databases. There's some proving master that worked on it for half a year or for a year to collect all the information and never extract a picture from it. So we have lots of provings, and I know this for a fact, that are not known to the homeopathic community because the last step is not taken. And so I know homeopaths who try to remedy this, and one of them is Jan Scholten, who does his, what do you say, meditation provings, kind of. And another one is Andreas Björndal, who did all kind of provings in a very original way, even provings with the group. But it comes down basically to a group meditation as well, even of remedies that the group didn't, that the remedies of the group was proving that were not decided by the proving master. So the proving was done first, and then the remedy was decided afterwards, etc. Yeah, all kind of things happening in the
Fascinating.
homeopathic community.
Fascinating.
Yeah,
It's endless, isn't it?
yeah.
Okay. Now, were there any more questions? I can't think of any other ones.
No, I haven't seen any more questions apart from the praise. Thank you, Anna. It was
Yes.
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah, I hope that this will encourage people to work with it. I think it's a lot of fun. You will find a lot of things that are unexpected, that you wouldn't have thought about, and that's why it's a help. Yeah,
Yeah,
otherwise,
Anna,
absolutely.
I just want to add that your 2D, 3D binary
yeah.
is genius.
Oh, thank you very much. Look.
I just think it really marries up with nature and also with clinical presentation. And
Yeah,
it means that you don't get forced into the, thinking, is it plant, mineral, or animal too early on, which actually leads down many false avenues
yeah.
in my experience. And students struggle with that. So I think that binary is wonderful. Thank you.
I find it helpful too. If you, I say afterwards, if you have the basic idea of 2D and 3D, you cannot have a confusion between an animal and a mineral. It's impossible
Mm.
because they're so far apart, even if the themes are the same.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah,
100%.
Yeah. Because themes come later. That's the first division. Yeah. Yeah.
What is 2D and 3D? You need to watch the recording once you probably came in late and you missed that part. But
Yeah.
Maybe we can just
yeah.
bring up the PDF of 2D and 3D.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
that will be nice.
Yeah. So
It's in the maps. Yeah. So
it's in the
if
maps.
you, yeah.
Oh, no, I'm here already. So it must be if I click
At,
here, do I have it? No, I don't
no,
have.
just at the bottom, if you click just at the bottom of the map, go back to the maps and click at the bottom of the map.
Okay, okay. So and I have to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
here.
yeah.
That's it.
There it is. Okay, so that's the first page, and that's the outside, and that's the inside. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. So 2 pages, as I said. So the left, from my point of view, is 2D, and the right is 3D. So second dimension, third dimension, and you see, as I said, the 7 rows of the periodic table. Yeah, with the let's say what they need to be okay. Because I always say, if you try to formulate in your patients their conditions to be okay. If you can find this, actually you know what row they're on. Because the first row is, well, they are in their cocoon, they don't need anything basically, but from the second row on, and it's according to the periodic table, it's not something that I invented, they need somebody else. It's about symbiotic relationships. They have to become a separate being. That's the whole issue of the second, being born, birth process. The third is they need protection. They are building up their identity, but they cannot do it alone. It's like a child, a young child in the first columns and a grown-up child in the later columns, but she's still a child. And then the fourth is I need security. So my condition to be okay is to have security. My condition to be okay on the fifth is I need applause and admiration. Hmm? Somebody might say, "Oh, I'm so very creative and I like to be creative." If this is not a condition to be okay, but a hobby, it's not row five. Row five is life and death. Conditions to be okay is always life and death. I am not okay unless I have this thing. I must have it. So all my efforts in my life, all my actions, all my longings are in this direction. So five is I don't want to be normal. I want to be special. That's why I try to do things that will bring me applause and admiration. And six is they need respect. That's very clear. They're beyond admiration, They want to be respected. And we know the sixth row. And then you can see celestial bodies have the same thing. Imponderables have the same thing. The viruses as well. And also dicots, the flowering plants. What is at stake in the flowering plants? It's respect. But what is the difference? It's 2D or 3D. It's very difficult to to be indecisive whether you have to give a plant, a dicot, or a celestial body. I mean, although they are on the same row, they might have similar issues, similar conditions to be okay, but they are just on the other page. And the other page that's why I call my book a world map. It's like a world map. They're two continents. They're apart. So if you're on the wrong continent, it's very difficult to find the right remedy. So that is the first thing I would always try to establish. Yeah, where are you, 2D or 3D?
Wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you, Anne. Just before we close, there was another question of someone asking if there were other courses or training, and Naila kindly replied that it's not hosted by us, but I believe you are doing some extra training through Tim in US on the
Yeah.
Naturopathic CE website. I don't know if you want to tell a little bit about that, Anne.
Well, it's actually very simple. There are 20 lectures on the 20 groups on the map. So that's the summary. On each group is an hour of
Fantastic.
explanation. And then, for instance, you see for row gemstone, sarcodes, waters, well, there'll be also differential diagnosis.
Okay, so
How
really
to differentiate them, what are the similarities, the overlaps, and the differences.
great, fantastic. And in case anybody had any further question, remember Anne is a wonderful person and she does reply. So you can also contact her personally.
You can.
I did put her website at the very start. I'll say it again. It's thewhiteroom.be. And of course, any other questions you wish, you can contact us as well on our website, redropers.com. And thank you very much for doing this, as it's free for everybody. The recording will be available as usual on redropers.com. Everyone, happy homeopathy, and see you soon.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for giving me the occasion to present my updates. Yeah, thank you.
Absolute pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. Bye, everybody.